Right now on Kten News Midday, we're talking traffic pattern changes in Grayson County with an update from Van Alstyne and Texoma Parkway. Plus, 2 teenagers arrested in connection to a double homicide and another bad actor taken out of the marijuana business. We have crime reports straight ahead. That's where we'll start this midday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bailey Vaughn. An illegal marijuana grow busted in Pontotoc County yesterday. Agents with the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics executed a search warrant at Jay-Z Happy Farms in Tupelo. Agents seized nearly 15,000 plants and 344 pounds of processed pot. It's alleged the grow was operating with a fraudulent OBN registration. We're told arrests are pending. 2 teenagers arrested in connection to a double homicide at a marijuana grow in Wynnewood back in April. Kten's Abby Heyman brings us an update.
Talking about 2 people who were shot dead.
A 16 and 18-year-old man have been arrested for killing 2 people at a marijuana grow in Wynnewood, according to Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation officials.
This had started on a robbery. After the 2 adult male victims were shot, there were items there on the scene that were taken.
Their motive was to go in and try to find a large amount of marijuana and money.
18-year-old Wyatt Collins was booked into the Garvin County Jail on May 23rd, charged with first-degree murder. A 16-year-old was also arrested by Chickasaw Nation Light Horse Police. Both were from Wynnewood.
These are young men in the rural area that we live among. That they walk the streets. You know, we know the families. Sheriff's
deputies responded to a marijuana grow on April 18th near County Road 1600 and North County Road 3320. 56-year-old Bao Ming Ma and 42-year-old Alejandro Hernandez had been shot and killed.
For the OSBI and the Garvin County Sheriff's Office, this is the second double homicide that we have looked into in a little over a year.
The last double homicide, they wanted to go buy marijuana, and when they got there, the individual didn't want to give it up.
Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics did determine that it was an illegal marijuana grow. The arraignment will be held on Thursday. It will be up to the district attorney's office to determine whether or not the 16-year-old will be charged as an adult. Reporting for Kten News, I'm Abby Heyman.
Police in Paris, Texas say gunfire was reported near the 1300 block of West Sherman yesterday. A Lamar County constable saw a crowd of people running away. Those people were found at an apartment nearby, and police also found a gun they believe was stolen. Paris PD is investigating. And storms moving back into the forecast today. Let's check in with meteorologist Christine Gormley in our Weather Center for an update. Christine, those cooler temperatures this week, they've been pretty nice though.
Yeah, we've been seasonably cooler this week, which has been just really great for all of us across Texoma. But today we are going to see a low-end thunderstorm chance today, really tonight, I think into tomorrow. That's when we're going to see our highest chance. I think that's really what the severe weather risk is for. But right now we're mostly cloudy. We are kind of tracking some lighter showers starting to make their way north toward the Red River there in Cook County, moving toward I-35. But here's a look at lake levels, or at least Lake Texoma. It's expected to crest at 630.7 on May 30th. So with the rain that we've gotten recently, it's definitely we're seeing that in our lakes for sure. Lakes are up. I know we had some flood warnings out for several lakes across Texoma earlier this week, but here's a look at that severe weather threat. 60 to 70 mile-per-hour winds possible. It's a low threat up to golf ball size hail. That tornado threat is very low, thankfully. We could see some localized flash flooding through this really starting this afternoon, but really into the overnight hours into early morning for your Thursday. So we're going to talk about the timing of that and those threats a little bit more here in a little bit. But for now, Bailey.
Thank you, Christine. Surely you haven't heard this enough. Another road closure in Grayson County. Kten's Kennedy Patterson is live in Sherman at the most recent construction zone. Kennedy, what's the latest out there?
Texoma Parkway is the latest road to be impacted by closures, with TxDOT staff saying that the block-offs could last for 2 months. Now, this construction is a part of Project US 75 and is making changes to the west end of Texoma Parkway. Now, this prevents traffic coming from the road to enter on northbound US 75. Instead, drivers will have to take a detour on State Highway 91 or make a U-turn at North Travis Street. Drivers will be faced with these detours and closures until the opening of a new intersection at the end of July. Now, you'll have the full story on this construction tonight on Kten News at 5. Live in Sherman, Texas, Kennedy Patterson, Kten News.
Thank you, Kennedy. The Roosevelt Bridge open once again. The bridge briefly closed yesterday morning as crews worked to repair damaged power lines. A spokesperson with Oklahoma Department of Transportation said all lanes were cleared by yesterday afternoon. Don't forget, though, the speed limit's still 35 miles an hour across the bridge. A makeover to Highway 75's access roads in Van Alstyne now underway. Kten's Olivia Hersberg goes over the project's timeline.
Just be careful during the construction. It's going to be a lot better when it's done.
Plenty of work underway to Highway 75 throughout Grayson County. The latest project focused on Van Alstyne's access roads.
They're shutting down one lane at a time, a section at a time. So today they're doing from near the Collin County line to 121 here. They have one lane shut down. The other lane is just coming north.
The east and west sides of the highway will only be open to one-way traffic. Workers are completing the new surfacing in phases that will stretch up into Howe.
The next step is to build a turnaround. That's going to be by Northridge, just north of here, so that people don't have to go all the way up to Farmington to turn around.
That portion won't be finished until a year from now.
We have to make these adjustments to infrastructure, all kinds of infrastructure, and we just need the room. We need more room for all this extra traffic.
City staff acknowledge the 3.5-year project will be an adjustment, but comes with effects of more traffic making its way into town.
It's one of those things that a few bad drivers has, caused the stop signs to be put in place a couple years ago, and then now the two-way service roads is being changed for a lot of the locals here because a few bad drivers don't understand how the road works.
Reporting in Van Alstyne, Texas, Olivia Hersberg, Kten News.
Texas Senate Bill 1758 continues to make rounds in the state capitol. The legislation aims to protect semiconductor manufacturers by requiring a seismic study before construction of a cement plant, which would impact the potential cement kiln company eyeing Dorchester, Texas. The bill passed its second reading in the House last night. House lawmakers will take a third vote before it's sent back to the Senate for final approval.
We do have some groups that are down there trying to find ways to get it through to get it heard. Even though it's way down on the list, we're still trying to fight, trying to get it up there one way or the other, because this is a very important bill, not only here to Grayson County, but to the state of Texas.
The House took a record vote yesterday with 108 yeas and 28 nays. Some Denison homeowners making it clear they do not want a proposed concrete crusher in their neighborhood. Kten's Sabine Welsh went out to speak with them.
It is not right. We should not have to live in fear. I don't trust them an inch.
Homeowners on South Fannin Avenue in Denison are protesting against their neighbors. North Texas Natural Select Materials.
Our fresh air is going to be gone, completely gone, with this kind of thing being so close, and we need to continue to fight this.
It's a dispute that homeowners in the neighborhood have faced since January of last year, when the company submitted an air quality standard permit application to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, proposing a permanent rock and concrete crusher.
We were seeing literally hundreds of very large trucks going back and forth on the road, creating hazardous driving conditions. The city of Denison put up no truck signs.
So it's quieted down.
TCQ decided to reject their first permit due to incomplete location requirements. And now, over a year later, the company is back at it again with a new and improved application.
I think when you look at folks and how they've treated you in the past, it's a fair indicator to determine whether or not they're going to treat you fairly going forward.
This next move by the company has John Huckle, a homeowner who runs a beekeeping business across the street, concerned for the long-term effects the plant may bring.
The particle matter from their byproduct not only kills the bees, it's in our product. We're out of business. I mean, plain and simple. You don't want to eat concrete in your honey, given the implications of a concrete crushing plant. Stay within the law. When that's disregarded for money, that's when we really need to step up.
Homeowners will have a chance to voice their concerns at TCQ's upcoming scheduled meeting on June 16th. In Denison, Texas, Sabine Welsh, Kten News.
Still to come on Kten News Midday, the Oklahoma State Treasurer's Office looking to return $1.3 billion worth of unclaimed property. We'll see how Carter County is contributing to that number later this half hour.
And cloudy skies sticking around for us today, but we could see a low severe weather threat with storms. I'll have those details, but first, here's your outdoor forecast sponsored by the Crazy AC Guide.
This portion of the news is brought to you by 580 To Go Phone Repair.
Well, we had so much rain earlier this week, and this month we've had a ton of rain, more than average. We've had over 7 inches of rain for the month of May, which the average is about 5.56 inches. So definitely a surplus for the month of May here. And now we're kind of drying out today, but we do have still some low rain chances in the forecast for this afternoon, this evening, and then more rain storms overnight tonight. And then tomorrow we're going to be seeing those storm chances and rain back in the forecast. So it's 70 degrees right now, though, on our Sherman Chevrolet Cadillac Tower Cam. We got cloudy skies overhead, mostly cloudy. We're going to see this throughout much of the day today across Texoma. It feels like 70. The humidity's down right now. Those east-northeast winds keeping us cooler, 14 miles per hour too, along with the cloud cover. But temperatures right now ranging from the upper 60s to the low 70s along I-35, 70 degrees here in Sherman, Denison, and then same goes for southeastern Oklahoma, Broken Bow, sitting at about 71 degrees. Now we're going to warm up into the upper 70s come this afternoon, this evening. 20% chance of those showers, maybe some partly cloudy skies this evening. Going to be in the 70s through this evening with south winds returning 5 to 15. Highs this afternoon going to be anywhere from 76 to 79 degrees. 79 for southeastern Oklahoma, 79 for Denison and Sherman, and then maybe a bit cooler off to the north and west. But here's a look at the future sky forecast, kind of what's coming up and heading our way. So this afternoon, maybe seeing some lighter showers, some thunderstorms down to the south, and then as we go through this afternoon, could see some scattered showers and a few thunderstorms possible. And then tonight, we're going to see more of a complex moving in. At least some data is really backed off on us getting that complex overnight tonight. It really has more of it starting at about 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow through lunchtime. Thunderstorms ongoing through lunchtime hour tomorrow through the afternoon. Here's 1:30, thunderstorms over I-35, and then in the afternoon by 3:30 going to continue to see thunderstorms. I think tomorrow about 40 to 60% chance of thunderstorms moving into the southeast by 6 o'clock, 7, 8 o'clock, still seeing some scattered thunderstorms, a bit higher in coverage tomorrow. And then some data suggests we get a lot more into the overnight hours there, so possibly a 20% chance into your Friday. And then we're going to see low-end scattered thunderstorm chances into the weekend, but we're going to see mostly dry, I think, for everyone. But today, a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather. That goes through tonight into tomorrow, and then tomorrow we have a level 1 out of 5 risk along I-35 toward the southeast. Low threat for tornado, hail, wind, very low for tornado. Medium risk for flooding, really could see about 1/10 to a half an inch. Localized areas could see a little bit more here in the next 24 hours or so into Friday, really 36 hours. Here's your 7-day sponsored by Get Roofed. 78 degrees today, and then we're going to see thunderstorms tomorrow into Friday, and then June begins for your Sunday. It's going to warm up into the 80s.
Thousands of unclaimed property in Carter County, Oklahoma, contributing to a rising number statewide. Kten's Alexander Porter spoke with the state treasurer.
$1.3 billion. That's the monetary value of unclaimed property claims the Oklahoma State Treasurer's Office is trying to get back into the hands of the rightful owner.
A lot of these are life insurance policies that weren't redeemed. Their last payroll checks for someone that moved out of college and forgot to pick up their last paycheck. That doesn't include the things like grandpa's gold watch, things like that we don't really appraise for value.
According to the state treasurer's office, there's over 132,000 unclaimed properties in Carter County alone, valued at around $18 million. That's good for the 6th most unclaimed properties in Oklahoma today.
We'll process 40,000 claims a year, and those claim sizes vary. It's really a challenge. The reason we have it's because nobody else could find them and they've given up.
If you're unsure if you have unclaimed property, you can head to Kten.com for more details on how to find the online inquiry form.
It's really pretty simple, but it takes a while to go through the process because you can only imagine how many fraudulent claims we get. If you've got multiple parties in an estate, now we're talking some time.
In Ardmore, Oklahoma, Alexander Porter, Kten News.
Coming up next, Russia seems to be taking a new tone with President Trump. We have an update on the efforts to broker a peace deal in Ukraine. Stick with us. That's after this break. President Trump expressing frustration with Russian leader Vladimir Putin over attempts to broker a ceasefire in Ukraine. NBC's Richard Engel has the latest update.
While many world leaders are doing their best to avoid any public spat with President Trump, it could be costly, it certainly could be embarrassing. Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin are taking a different approach. They seem to be pushing President Trump's buttons, particularly when it comes to Ukraine, and not shying away from insults, not shying away from any public spat with him. President Trump has expressed surprise and frustration that Vladimir Putin has not only rebuffed repeated attempts by the Trump administration to broker a ceasefire in Ukraine, not only has he failed to go to meetings, he's been intensifying his attacks against Ukraine, particularly drone and missile attacks against Kyiv and other locations. When President Trump said that he thinks that Vladimir Putin is behaving in a crazy way and that if this continues, there will be bad consequences for Russia, Russian state media, the Kremlin, former Russian officials close to Vladimir Putin have all pushed back and done so in a bit of a mocking way, with a Kremlin spokesman saying that President Trump seems to be suffering from emotional overload. And analysts that I've spoken to believe that Vladimir Putin's goal here might be to try and frustrate President Trump enough that he makes good on his threat washes hands of the conflict. And since the U.S. is Ukraine's main military, intelligence, and financial backer, that if the U.S. walks away, Ukraine is in a weaker position. So we're seeing a new tactic emerging from the Kremlin, from Vladimir Putin, perhaps trying to goad President Trump, to frustrate him enough so that he walks away.
Yesterday, NPR filed a First Amendment lawsuit against the Trump administration. The suit alleges President Trump's attempt to defund NPR is a, quote, clear violation of the Constitution. Earlier this month, the president accused NPR and PBS of bias. An executive order called for the Corporation of Public Broadcasting to stop funding the two entities. PBS says it's preparing to take legal action against the administration, but they have yet to file suit. Coming up next on Kten News Midday, we'll hear from Tom Bean ahead of their state semifinal baseball game, and Stars look to even up their series against the Oilers. Don't miss those highlights coming up next in sports. I'm Bailey Vaughn for Good Morning Texoma. We hope you'll join us Thursday morning. A teenager in Iowa showing off his biggest catch, a flathead catfish weighing just under 70 pounds. We're going to hear from that young man, plus we'll have a look at your forecast. Join us from 5 to 7 a.m. I'm Bailey Vaughn for Good Morning Texoma. We hope you'll join us Thursday morning. A teenager in Iowa is showing off his biggest catch, a flathead catfish weighing just under 70 pounds. We're going to hear from that young man, and we'll have a look at your forecast.
And we got some storms moving in for your Thursday. Going to see a little bit more activity and more coverage of those storms. I think most everyone is going to get in on thunderstorms for your Thursday. We have a level 1 out of 5 risk for some counties in Texoma. Amber will have that full forecast from 5 to 7 a.m.
Thanks for joining us for the second half hour of Kten News Midday. I'm Bailey Vaughn. Texoma City is hit with another round of storms over the weekend. Kten's Kennedy Patterson tells us how Gainesville City crews are assessing those damages.
Storms have come and gone yet again here in Texoma, leaving behind their mark on cities like Gainesville.
Really, it's been all hands on deck.
Thunderstorms made their return to the city Sunday night, pushing down anything that stood in their path.
Even though maybe we haven't gotten a tornado touchdown in city limits, it's the winds and the weather that we have received did result in some damage throughout the city.
The aftermath visible on roads like Commerce Street as power lines and tree limbs dangled above and below homes. Homeowners tell us damage from the weekend storms added to the pile of debris from previous severe weather. Houses weren't the only structures to take a hit.
Some of the local areas have experienced some structural damage.
At the corner of Chestnut and Elm Streets, a downtown business's roof completely collapsed from the storm's wet blow. The fallen bricks lining the sidewalk sending alarms to city services on the need for immediate attention.
Our Parks and Rec team and our Public Works teams, they've been really on it to get everything cleaned up as quickly as possible.
The Solid Waste Division will begin brush pickup Wednesday with details involving routes for the rest of the week being posted to the City of Gainesville's Instagram and Facebook pages. In Gainesville, Texas, Kennedy Patterson, Kten News.
A father died after saving his child on Sunday. Denison Fire Rescue was called to the Red River near the Denison Dam about a child in the water. Witnesses told them the father had jumped in to save the child. The child was safe, but the father's body was later recovered. Texas game wardens are investigating exactly what happened. We are holding on to some cloud cover this midday. Let's check in with meteorologist Christine Gormley for a look at your forecast. Not done with the rain just yet this week, Christine.
No, not just yet. We're going to get a lot more rain come tomorrow. Your Thursday looks a little bit more widespread with that rain thunderstorm chance going into tomorrow. Now, that severe threat is low for your Thursday. That's the good news, but it does look like we're going to get some more rain for sure. But here's a look right now. We're mostly cloudy across Texoma. I think most of the day today we're going to be that way, but we do have some lighter showers making their way toward I-35 near the Red River. They're near Cook County, Grayson County. They're seeing some sprinkles, some showers. There may be seeing some drizzle for some of the folks down south of the Red River. And so we're going to be tracking showers, thunderstorms all day today. Also, since we've had so much rain over just in the last couple of days, especially Sunday night to Monday, Lake Texoma is now on the rise again. It's expected to crest at 630 feet, 0.7 there on May 30th. Right now it's at about 630.26 feet. So we're going to be watching that closely too. And for this evening's threats overnight into Thursday, we're going to be expecting a low risk for wind and hail, maybe up to golf ball size hail, with that hail being that as large as golf balls, and then 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. That tornado threat's very low. Could see some localized flooding if any storms kind of just sit over one location, but that's going to be definitely a higher risk come tomorrow. So we're going to have details on all of that and the timing of it here in a little bit. Bailey.
The Department of Government Efficiency can now access sensitive Treasury Department systems that control trillions of dollars of payments and contain private information for millions of Americans. In a ruling this week, a federal judge said she was clearing the way for the Elon Musk-backed team at the Treasury to access these systems. A coalition of 19 Democratic states filed a lawsuit earlier this year to block DOJ from accessing the payment systems. The judge noted that the states did not oppose the DOJ team at the Treasury accessing the systems as long as they receive proper training. Now to the latest on the deal between U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel as President Trump plans a trip to the Pittsburgh area. Talia Kirkland has an update.
It's an investment and it's a partial ownership, but it'll be controlled by the USA.
President Donald Trump confirmed a merger between U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel on Friday. The president called the deal a partnership and investment. But a closer look at the agreement reveals a deal once blocked by former President Joe Biden on the grounds of national security concerns was cleared Friday afternoon when Nippon Steel acquired U.S. Steel for $55 a share. The president said Nippon will invest $14 billion over the next 14 months, adding that the headquarters will remain Lane in Pittsburgh. Pennsylvania Senator Dave McCormick appeared on CNBC and confirmed new details about the merger, saying it would save 10,000 jobs and create 10,000 construction jobs for the creation of an additional arc furnace. He explained that the company will remain U.S. owned, but said that the U.S. government will control the number of board members.
And the control structure is going to be somewhat unique. It's a national security agreement that will be signed with the U.S. government. It'll be a U.S. CEO, a U.S. majority board, and then there'll be a golden share, which will essentially require U.S. government approval of a number of the board members, and that will allow the United States to ensure production levels aren't cut.
As we first reported Friday, U.S. Steelworker Union President David McCall has voiced workers' concerns with the merger, saying this deal could, quote, jeopardize good union jobs. He shared this as new details emerged. Quote, we can't speculate about the government's reported golden share or anything about the announced partnership without more information. U.S. Steel is a critical producer and a critical domestic industry, and our concerns about Nippon, a foreign corporation with a long track record of violating U.S. trade laws, remains undiminished.
In other news, mortgage rates rose for the third straight week, hitting the highest level since January. According to the Mortgage Bankers Association's seasonally adjusted index, the average for 30-year fixed-rate mortgages increased to 6.98%. Experts say an increased housing inventory in many markets has been supporting some transaction volume despite economic uncertainty. Meanwhile, applications to refinance a home loan took the rate increase harder, falling 7% for the week. COVID-19 shots will no longer be recommended for healthy children and pregnant women, according to U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Sherelle Hubbard has more.
The COVID-19 vaccine policy is undergoing some big changes. U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made the announcement Tuesday on social media.
The COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommended immunization schedule.
Kennedy was accompanied by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration Commissioner and the National Institutes of Health Director in the video announcement.
Last year, the Biden administration urged healthy children to get yet another COVID shot despite the lack of any clinical data to support the repeat booster strategy in children.
That ends today. It's common sense and it's good science.
Kennedy says this move positions the Trump administration one step closer to delivering on the Make America Healthy Again agenda, but offered no scientific evidence to justify the change. Many medical professionals say the changes put vulnerable populations at risk.
The fact that it's no longer recommended for pregnant women is really puzzling. It's important for pregnant women.
A leading pediatrician and vaccine expert says Kennedy's records on vaccines, not science, is a driving factor behind the recommendation.
I think you have right now the head of Health and Human Services, who for 20 years has been an anti-vaccine activist, science denialist, and conspiracy theorist, and he's just carrying it on.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Still to come later this half hour on Kten News Midday, Sherman Community Player is gearing up for their latest production. We sat down with a few cast members this morning, and you've got another chance to catch the details later this half hour.
And we're not done with the rain and thunderstorm chances. I'll have those details and the timing of that after this break. But first, here's your outdoor forecast sponsored by Stonebrick Assisted Living.
This portion of the news is brought to you by 580 To Go Phone Repair.
Well, today's a little bit less humid, I think, than what we definitely saw over the weekend and earlier this week. So it feels great out there, at least it did this morning. But it's in the 70s right now across Texoma. On our Sherman Chevrolet Cadillac Tower Cam, there's some blue skies peeking in through some of the cloud cover there. We're going to be partly to mostly cloudy, I think, for much of the day. And then we're going to see some light rain showers possible today. And then we're going to see a complex of storms potentially moving in tonight into tomorrow. Cold front moves in for Thursday. And that's when we're going to see a little bit more widespread thunderstorms and rain chances going into tomorrow. Right now, east-northeast winds about 14 miles per hour on our Sherman Chevrolet Cadillac Tower Cam, and temperatures across Texoma in the 70s now, warming up. We're going to warm up today into the upper 70s. It's going to be in the lower middle 70s right now along I-35. Everyone hitting that 70-degree mark or over. Dew points right now in the lower 60s, so it's definitely been worse at times, but definitely getting warmer out there and more humid. Those north winds also keeping us a little less humid today, but it's in the 60s, so feeling pleasant out there, I think, going into this afternoon. But here's a look at the rest of the day. By lunchtime, we'll definitely be in the 70s for many of us. So we're going to warm up into the upper 70s, close to 80 degrees today, and then 20% chance of showers, thunderstorms, just a stray shower or two, I think, for today. And then overnight, we're going to see more widespread thunderstorms with the cold front into tomorrow. But highs this afternoon going to be in the upper 70s, close to 80. The record is 107 degrees. We're actually below average, so not even thinking about records today. But temperature outlook going into the first week of June, from June 2nd through the 6th, you'll see it on the 7-day too. It's going to be warmer. We're going to be above average, or at least seasonably warm going into next week. Above average specifically, or especially for the north and the east there near Chicago, Minneapolis, but down to Texoma, we're going to be in that above normal category, which is sitting in the middle 70s for the normal. But here's a look at future sky forecast. Cloudy today, some rain showers making their way north, crossing the Red River. We saw that on reflectivity earlier, but we're going to see scattered showers continue to possibly develop as we go throughout today. And then overnight, could see a complex of storms move through with the cold front. I think latest data now suggests it really doesn't roll in until between 7 and 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So that's when we're going to be expecting to see thunderstorms tomorrow. And this is kind of running a bit slow today, but thunderstorms along I-35 going to be spreading further and further into Texoma tomorrow with that cold front. Level 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather today. It's a low risk. Level 1 tomorrow as well along I-30 or along the Red River into the southeastern portions of Texoma. Low threat for everything. Localized flooding could be a medium risk going into today into tomorrow. And then here's a look at your 7-day sponsored by Get Roofed. You're going to be warming up into the upper 70s and 80s come this next week as we go into June.
Summer's a big season for local theater troupes. Here's Kten's Caroline Kellen with details on Sherman Community Players' latest offering.
Our friends from Sherman Community Players are gearing up to open their summer production, Hello, Dolly. Today we have Artistic Director Dara Dunn, Hannah Burns, and Ed Richardson in studio with us. Thank y'all for waking up so early with us.
Well, thanks for having us this morning.
Absolutely. So Hello, Dolly is coming up. So exciting. Dara, our Artistic Director, tell us a little bit about the show.
It's huge. It's a huge show and a huge undertaking for us. We haven't produced Hello, Dolly probably 25 years. Wow. There hasn't been a local production of Hello, Dolly, so we're so excited to be telling this funny story. It's great music, classic American theater.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about the plot.
A rich merchant in Yonkers, New York, named Horace Vandergelder hires Dolly Levi to be his marriage broker. He needs a new wife. Little does he know that she might just be keeping him for herself.
Okay, and Ed, you play Horace. Tell us a little bit about your character and your experience getting to step into that role.
Well, it's one of those once-in-a-lifetime chances. As a kid, one of my favorite movies was The Bad News Bears, starring Walter Matthau, and this is a Walter Matthau role. So yeah, this fellow's a half a millionaire in the 1890s, so he's pretty wealthy. Looking for, I mean, it's misogynistic, but basically he's looking for a housekeeper with a ring, right? And he learns a lot about the power of women and their ability to influence things, even back in those days. It's a funny role.
Awesome. And Hannah, you play Minnie Faye. Tell us about Minnie.
Yes. So, Caroline, if there's one thing about Minnie Faye, it's that she loves a piece of hot gossip. So Minnie is the hat shop assistant, and she is still single. She's pushing spinsterhood, but she's a career woman focused on her job with Mrs. Irene Malloy. That is until two fellas find their way into the hat shop, and then we end up going on a beautiful bougie date to the Harmonia Gardens. So Minnie Faye is so much fun, and my favorite number in the show is my own song, because I'm vain. No, because Elegance is so funny, and it's one of those that will just have you tapping your foot and singing along. The whole show is really.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So a little bit of comedy, a little bit of romance, a little bit of everything. Awesome. And y'all are pretty deep into the rehearsal process now. I know you said Tech Week is next week. So how have rehearsals been going so far?
Really good, really good. The cast is so much fun. Everybody's able to find beautiful little moments that aren't in the script, but really enrich the story.
We're having a blast.
Oh, so much fun. And then Tech Week's coming soon, so you're going to add costumes, set, things like that. Have you gotten a sneak peek of the set, some costumes yet?
The set is massive, massive set, because Dolly has that big dramatic entrance on the stairs with her beautiful gown. We're starting to see some of the pieces come in, and that old 1800s fashion, gorgeous, love to see it. Can't wait to see all of them come together.
So exciting. Always so fun to watch everything get put together after weeks of just kind of being on the stage with your script to finally watch it come to life. So very exciting. Tell us, Dara, how can we get tickets? Where should we go? Who should we call?
Well, the show plays all 4 weekends in June. We open June 6th. We close on the 29th. You can call us at the box office, 892-8818, or you can buy your tickets online at scptheater.org. That's probably the easiest way to get on there and look and see what seats are available. But if you like to talk on the phone, Pam Sanza, our executive director, will help you out.
Thanks for joining us so much. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you
for having us.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break with this week's Brain Trap.
Well, we are making that transition from spring into summer later this weekend, but June 1st doesn't only mark meteorological summer, it also begins the beginning of hurricane season. Now, Texoma, we're usually not directly impacted by hurricanes. By the time they're making it into our viewing area, they're usually remnants of a tropical system, which still can bring us rain and even severe weather. So we still need to pay attention during those summer months. But from NOAA, we are getting a prediction of an above normal hurricane season. Well, what does normal look like? Well, normally, on average, we get about 14 named storms a hurricane season. Of those, hurricane status 7, and of those hurricanes, about 3 are expected to be major, which is classified as Category 3 or higher. So time will tell. I know we've got a plume of Saharan dust moving over the Atlantic this week, so we may not see anything right off the bat. But peak hurricane season isn't until later in the summer. Why is that? Well, water heats up and cools down a lot slower than land does. So in order for us to get tropical development, we need those warm waters. And while that typically doesn't happen until the end of summer and early fall. So we'll keep an eye on it. Here's a list of the names. I know a lot of people like to get a glimpse of what's on the list this year, starting with Andrea and ending the list with Wendy there. So we'll see what this hurricane season has in store. If it's anything like the severe weather season, then we are in for a busy ride. If you have any questions regarding weather, science, whatever it may be, you can send them into weather@kten.com, and we'll make sure we answer them every single Wednesday on our midday show. We'll be right back after the break. Ardmore Parks and Rec spent the day preparing for today's opening of the city's water park. This year, the park will have extended hours 12 to 6 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday, 2 to 6 p.m. on Sunday, and they're closed on Mondays. The park will be open through August 2nd, but probably not a great week to hit the pool, Christine. Temperatures have been, pretty spring-like.
Yeah, we've been below average, seasonably below average in the 70s. Average right now is in the lower to middle 80s, so we've definitely been below average. That's not going to stay here going into this next week. We're going to warm up into the middle to upper 80s by Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We're going to be above average as we start the month of June, but we also have thunderstorm chances in the forecast tomorrow, so it's not a really good idea to be out in the pool anyway with lightning and not a good mix. But there's your 7-day sponsored by Get Roofed. We're going to be seeing those overnight lows in the 60s and 50s and then back up close to 70 by next week.
Do you think next week we could see our first 90?
I don't know. know. I mean, 86, you know, I don't know. Maybe possibly close.
I know, we're teetering right on that
I know.
line.
I mean, we'll eventually get there.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right about that. That's all we got for Kten News Midday. We'll see you right back here tonight. Kten News at 5, 6, and 10.